This is in Laboring Under Delusions, which is an hour of stand-up that's all about various jobs that I've had over the years. I talk about being on the set of There Will Be Blood and introducing and saying, I'd heard that Daniel Day-Lewis was kind of intense, but when you meet him, he's not. Oh, I can't remember how I said it. I can't remember how it went.
He's not intense.
He's the most intense person who's ever lived on the planet Earth. And it really, you really got the sense of there's a coiled thing inside him, he is in this the whole time, and it's not like you had to call him Mr. Plainview or anything like that between takes, but he kind of stayed in it and stayed in the voice,
really?
Between takes.
Did you interact with him much between takes or ever?
I had one interaction with him. I met him when I got to set. I was introduced to him. This is Paul. He's going to be playing Mr. Prescott. Hello. Nice to meet you.
Wow. So because he's known as the method actor of that time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To the point where he allegedly insisted on wearing his coat in Gangs of New York that was not lined and got pneumonia, I believe.
Oh, well, that's a mistake. Well, he shouldn't have done that.
That's also IMDb. So we can't believe that. Okay. So you met him.
Yes. So I met him and he was not like, he never said please call me Mr. Plainview. He said hello, but in the voice. And then I had one interaction with him between takes where I was standing there thinking, this is great. No one is talking to me. This is perfect.
Yeah, that's what you want.
And we were standing kind of near each other. And
is this indoors or out?
This is indoors. Okay. We're in the meeting set. And there was no way in hell I was going to turn to him and say, so how's it going?
Yeah.
I just was standing there. I think hands clasped behind my back. I might as well have been whistling. Do. I'm just standing here minding my own business. And then he said, you are, how are you? And I said, I'm fine. And he said, you're playing Mr. whatever. And he said some different name, you're Mr. Donnelly. And I said, oh, no. I'm playing Mr. Prescott. I'm trying to make sure that we secure your services for the lease. He went, yes. The end.
Wow.
And that was it.
But that answers some questions, because I think a lot of us would probably think, is he in the character the whole time? It's one thing to be in the voice and the physicality, but if he's talking about playing a role, he's at least snapped back to Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah,
I think that there are there's different ways that people are with things like that. And I have a friend who Marilyn Rice Cub, who worked on Man on the Moon, the Jim Carrey Andy Kaufman thing, and he asked people to call him Andy. So, what, Andy Kaufman or Jim Carrey?
Look, both. I mean, let's be honest.
They was hey, if I'm going to play this asshole, I might as well be an asshole.
Well, all right. You know what? Then not an asshole.
But my hat's off to him. As I used to be very cynical about stuff like that, and now I feel like I've just come to a point of, hey, you know what? Whatever gets you to where you need to be, that's not that big a deal.
Listen, I'm dealing with some hurt in my past, because one time I was in Of Mice and Men.
Sure.
And I was playing the bad guy, Curly. First of all, horribly miscast. And
the guy, your hair isn't curly.
No, nor am I.
No, you wore a John 3:16 wig.
So the guy playing Slim was a method actor, and I didn't even have a fight with him on stage, but he would come back in the hall before the big fight scene with me and Lenny, and he would grab me by the lapel and throw me against the hall.
Yeah, see, that's ridiculous.
And I was a little guy, and I'm supposed to be the bad guy aggressor. Huh?
You wanted to be a big guy.
Yeah, but I couldn't. I could only be a big guy inside.
That's right.
And every night I went out there having to be the aggressor, but I was petrified that this guy was going to hit me on stage.
Yeah.
So, and plus I had a perm that wasn't natural. That didn't help.
What? Did you really?
I would this love was in to college. See that.
Are there pictures?
Oh yeah. Well, the perm didn't work, so they tight curled my hair every night. A woman named Doina tight curled my hair.
What? Doina?
Yeah.
That's not a name.
It was for her.
That to me that's a different thing, because that to me is a bad actor. Part of the craft of acting is understanding that this is a collaborative effort. You do not just have free run of whatever. And if you're going to, let's say, grab another actor's arm, which he had to do, you don't do it as roughly as possible, or you talk to the guy beforehand and you say, hey, let me know.
Exactly.
Is this okay? How hard can I do this? You don't just do it.
Yeah.
Like that's a wonderful part of the craft of acting is we want this to look as good as possible, but I respect you as a human being and as a fellow craftsperson. So let's work on this together.
Yeah.
That's what's at its best. That is what is so great about it is everybody understanding we are all collaborators. It's not just the actors are collaborators. It's not just the director and the star are collaborators. It's everyone here is working for a common vision, and that everybody's job is just as important as everybody else's.
Right. And someone like Daniel Day-Lewis too, though he may be sort of in, for lack of a better term, a method acting sort of state, but I would imagine working with that and seeing that sort of believability and intensity would only elevate another person's performance.
Absolutely.
As opposed to someone who's taking something from you, which like this guy that I worked with was.
Yeah.
Or for some reason Jim Carrey seems like he's doing.
You had no choice. Being on that set, you had no choice but to admire it. He didn't make people feel uncomfortable.
Sure,
I mean, as much as I joke about him being intense, that was true, but he wasn't doing that to make people feel bad.
And it's an intense character.
Yeah, absolutely.
The character is incredully intense and intimidating. And he's a murderer.
Yes, he's playing a fucked up dude. Yeah.
Not spoilers, but the movie ends with him bludgeoning someone with a bowling pin and eating steak.
Yeah.
I mean, those are two real primal things.
Yeah. How many times have you eaten a steak and you were thinking, I could just as easily be bludgeoning someone with a bowling pin?
Well, you can't have one without the other. That's what brings out the flavor and a taste.
The two great tastes that taste great together.
Paul F. Tompkins.
Wait, one more thing.
You have one more thing.
This is a thing that I cut out of laboring under delusions as I was working on that hour, is that between takes, we're sitting in this hot room and Daniel Day-Lewis just stayed in the chair. And between takes, as things were being reset, lighting was being tweaked and everything like that, every once in a while he would just make this noise that sounded like this. And it was like a lion that was just kind of relaxing and thinking about what am I going to go out and take down and eat. And the only time I saw him not in character, and it was after I think this is how I knew we had gotten that scene, was because he was talking to Flanagan outside of the set. And Flanagan is from Ireland. He's got an Irish accent. And Daniel Day-Lewis was talking to him, and somehow the subject of paper money came up. I don't remember, like in the time period, if they were moving towards the euro or something like that, and they were getting rid of like certain denominations of folding money. And Daniel Day-Lewis got very excited, saying, I miss the old Irish money. It was gigantic. He was so excited talking to an Irishman about the old Irish currency. And that was the only time I heard him speak in his own voice.
Yeah, I can't even know. I don't know if I know what his own voice sounds like.
Yeah, it's pretty
not as gruff.
It's not remarkable. No, it's not gruff at all. It's a very refined voice, and he sort of sounds like this, and it's a typical English actor's speak.